Hey guys, welcome back to another tutorial. Today we're going to be learning how to do this sunset silhouette with watercolor. I'm just using these Prang watercolor sets. There's just an 8 color set here. Now, just to kind of show you some ideas, with this idea you can do so many different things. So this one's kind of a lake scene with some trees and maybe a little cabin. Same idea. This one you change the scenery. It's going to be a tropical beach kind of a scene. Same thing with this one. So as you can see, I've done this several times with different kind of themes, but similar themes, right? Both of them have to do with water and a sunset. So to get some ideas before you begin, I like to look at reference pictures. So these are just ones I found online. So we've got kind of a little bit more of a distance with some of these trees over here. This one's more kind of close, and you can see these bigger trees kind of reaching over. Here's kind of more of a lake with a dock and some trees there, maybe some distant hills or mountains. And then we've got this one that has some ducks in the sky, some cattails, kind of more of a marshy lake scene. So any of these ideas would work. You can even, there's so many more that you could even do. So kind of decide what you're sort of interested in first, and that will kind of help you give an idea to start off with. I like to do little thumbnail sketches. Thumbnail sketches are just to help you get your ideas flowing. So I've got these ones here, just a few ideas. It also helps you decide what format do you want to do. Do you want to do it landscape format like these two here, or do you want to do more of a vertical format like this one? Now these two ideas are very similar, but you can see I just did a different layout. Both have a larger tree, some smaller trees on the side, but just kind of swung a different way. So you can decide what you like best. So I am going to be doing more of the lake scene, I decided, since I have a lot of the beach ones already. So I'm like, well, maybe I'll try something else. So first thing you do, you kind of draw your little box, put in your horizon line. Do you want it to be in the middle? Do you want it lower? You know, you decide. So maybe this one, for this idea, maybe I'll do it lower, because I just realized these ones are kind of all sort of in the middle. Maybe I'll do this one low. That just means you're going to have a lot of sky. So that's going to be my horizon line. The horizon line, I'll just call that the HL. That is where the land meets the sky, or the water meets the sky. So that's where that line is here. And I kind of like to put things on that line. So maybe I'll have like a little row of low mountains on that line. Maybe I'll have maybe some trees coming out of that. Maybe there's another little land over there too. So that could be like a distant shore, if this is going to be a lake. And then here I could have things growing up, kind of like, let me find that picture. Like this one, we've got those grasses and things coming up right off the bottom of the page. So maybe this one I'll have, you know, grasses coming up the bottom of the page. Like that. And then we can add some more trees in there. Maybe I'll have another like something growing out taller here too, some taller cattails. And you could put even like little geese in the sky, just to give you an idea. So you've got your ideas, and then you're going to decide which one you like best and go with it. So maybe for me, I'm going to go with this idea right here. I like that one. All right, so now we're going to get our paper. Okay, now we're ready to begin. So I've just got my watercolor paper. This is a Strathmore 400 series type of paper, and I've just taped it down to a board like this. You could also use a piece of cardboard. Got some brushes here. I've got like a flat wash, a round, and then I have a teeny round right here too. Oh, and also a larger flat wash. You can use ones like that. I even like these great big ones. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna lay in that horizon line. It just goes across about the middle is where I'm gonna put it, right about there. And just lightly sketch it out. You can use a ruler if you want to. If not, just go ahead and just take it all the way across. And that is your horizon line. Then we're gonna go ahead and wet the paper down. Oops, my paintbrush is a little bit colored, but that's okay, we'll just spread that. All right, the first color we're gonna be using is yellow. And we're gonna be going right on that horizon line. So I'm just gonna go right across. And because we got the paper wet, the color will spread out nicely and kind of soak in a little bit easier. If you ever feel like your color is not flowing as easily as this looks, then you might need to get a little more water on there. But this looks just about right here. Now you're going to be getting yellow. You're going to be using yellow the most to begin with. So I'm going to be taking it a little bit past, like this is a third, so a little bit past a third of my paper, right in the center. Okay, so that looks pretty good. And you can even like let it fade up. That's totally fine. Okay, then we're gonna just go right up to your orange. Go ahead and grab some orange on your paintbrush, and you're gonna start about here and letting it just blend into that yellow. And you can kind of drag it up a little bit. See, I'm going all the way across my page, back and forth. Make sure you go all the way to your edges. You've got this tape here, so you don't have to worry about, you know, messing up your edges there. So just bring it all the way to your edge. And whatever you're gonna do the top, you're gonna repeat it down below. So I'm gonna go ahead and go down here and do it as well. Now, I've got a pretty distinct look between my yellow and my orange, and I want that to blur a little bit more. I don't want it to be so sudden. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab a little bit more yellow and just kind of go on top between the two colors and let those colors merge a little bit more. Do that to the top as well. I don't want to take that all the way down to my horizon line because I want that to be kind of more of a clear yellow. I don't want that to become a yellow orange. But I can go close, just not right over it. Okay. Now, if you want there to be more of a distinct looking sun in your picture, like see how here we've got this very bright sun actually showing. It hasn't gone down like it has in this picture. If you want to do something like that, this is kind of the stage you're going to do it. You're going to need a little paper towel, and you're going to take your brush, just get it wet, and decide where you want that to be. I don't like things right in the center. I like it to be a little bit off center, so I might put that maybe like right here. And just going to kind of get a little wet spot going on, kind of round it. I just got a little wet, and then I'm going to take my paper towel. I'm just going to blot, and see how it's already starting to lift up some of that yellow. I'm kind of getting it back to white. So if you can try to make it round because the sun's kind of out. So I'm kind of doing a little circle action there, and see that? You can even bring that down into the water because the sun reflects into the water, right? So you can kind of wipe off. If it's not coming up right away, just get your brush, get it a little bit wet, put a little bit of water on it. What that does is it helps lift up that yellow off there. And so you don't want to do it a ton, but just to kind of be like, oh yeah, there's the sun, there's that highlight on the water. Yeah, just a little bit there. Just like that. So that's going to be kind of your sunset. Now I'm not finished adding the color yet, so I got to go finish adding my other sunset colors. But I wanted to do that now while that was still kind of damp and I could do it. All right, so now I'm going to move into red. So I'm going to take the red right across. And you could take it all the way to the top of the page and to the bottom of the page. Again, overlapping with your orange that was there before. So always overlap with the color that was come before that one. And that's starting to look like a pretty nice little sunset. Now you could keep it like this. Like you could keep it kind of that pinky, orangey sky if you like it. That's totally fine. If you want more of that purpley look, then you're gonna grab some purple. Get some on my brush here, and you're gonna go kind of to the tip top there and start overlapping with that red. You want that to be nice, a nice like red violet. And whatever I do to the top, I gotta do it to the bottom. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring that across, back and forth. And if you want to, you could even get a titch of blue, so I got a little blue, and go on the very edge down there. You could kind of drag it up in there if you want to. You could even kind of see I'm using the very tip of my brush. You could do a little bit. This is gonna be the water area, so I could totally have that happening. Now, if you want this to blend a little bit more, if you're like, oh, I don't like how this goes to orange to purple, I might grab just a bit more red here and kind of like put that red back in there. Now I can work this as long as it's staying kind of damp like it is right now. If it starts getting too dry, then that's harder to do. I'm gonna maybe grab a little bit more purple and bring it up into that sky just a little bit more. Oops, I went a little bit too much there, but let me see if I can grab some red and kind of blend that out. And maybe, whoops, I just splattered. That's why it's good to have a little paper towel handy. Grab your red, I might just do this a little bit there. Sometimes I'll wash off my brush, kind of dry it off a little bit, and this is kind of a damp, and I might just take that damp brush and just kind of run it across, just to kind of pick up if I have too much color maybe in one spot. All right, so this needs to dry, and then we can go ahead and lay in our ideas for the thumbnail sketches. So we did these thumbnail sketches, and we picked this one, so I'm gonna let this dry, and then I will show you the next step. All right, it's had time to dry. I've gone ahead and blown dried it, and I've already sketched out the idea that I have here. Now, when you sketch out, try not to draw too dark, because if you do need to erase, then it's a little bit harder to erase. But you can erase off of this surface. Just be careful that you don't scrub too hard with your eraser, because it can actually lighten the paint. Like, I don't know if I can show you here. Just a little bit lighter. So that's why you don't want to go too dark. All right, once you've got your picture sketched in, you're gonna be making up your color. So I'm just gonna kind of scoot this over so you can see a little bit better. I'm gonna take purple, and I've gone ahead and just scoop some up here, get it into your mixing tray. And if you need to, you can take water on your brush and kind of drip that water in there so you can get that paint more juiced up. Add it to your mixing tray. Then you're gonna go ahead and get brown. So then you're gonna scoop up some brown, put that in there. We're making a nice purpley brown color here, and that's gonna be the color of our silhouettes. All right, so you can start by doing, I like to kind of do the larger shapes first. So things like this shoreline here. If you feel like your color is a little bit too transparent, then you probably have a little bit too much water in your paints. I might go ahead and scoop up, make a little bit more, and just kind of darken that up a little bit, because I felt like mine was getting a little transparent there. So go ahead and fill in my little beach of my lake. So now I'm gonna add things like these cattails here. Now, we've created some distance in our picture. That's one thing I forgot to go over. Things that are closer to the bottom are gonna be larger. Like we have a larger tree here because it's closer to us as the viewer. We've got a smaller tree. Now this tree could be the same size as this one, but because it's farther away, it appears smaller. So when we do our cattails here, they can be pretty long, right? We can also put grasses. The cattails, I always thought as a kid, I always thought they reminded me of like a corn dog. So sometimes I'll get a little, like a long line like that, and then just kind of go down a little bit and kind of just fill in the shape. So I don't have to draw this all out. I could have if I wanted to, like kind of drew it all out with my pencil first, but I kind of like to just do this as I go and kind of decide what I want to do as I want to, you know, like if I feel like I need to have more, then I'll put more. And it's a lot easier to put them in with my paintbrush than to sit there and draw every little thing. So, all right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and show you. So here I've got them this size, but maybe I have some over here, or I actually need to put them over here, and they're gonna appear a lot shorter because it's farther away. Okay, so they're over there. And maybe I can't see as many details as I could here. And I don't have a teeny tiny brush. This is about as small as I got, so. Put some more in there and just have fun with it. I feel like these little details are really what pulls that picture together and really makes it interesting. and unique. So even though I've done like a bunch of these pictures like this with this sunset style, everyone's a little bit different, and that's what's fun about it, is that I can change it up and make it a different picture almost every time, just depending on what I decide I want to put in it. You could have those one feathery grasses that kind of go up and then have like a little feathery thing at the end. That could be pretty. Just whatever you do, don't get too like, what do you want to say, robotic about it. Try to make them so they're not all exactly the same. Maybe some are shorter, some are taller, some are bending one way, some are bending another way. If you want to make it look like it's windy, you could have them all kind of slightly leaning to one side to give it some movement. So you can see it's starting to come together here. So I'm gonna go ahead and let it speed up a little bit while I work on these details. Oh, actually, before I do that, let me show you a little bit about reflections. I kind of want to put the reflections in the water first. So if you check out this one I have here, see in my water I have these lines. I've got some shadows happening from these trees on these shores over here. I've got some colors into the water here. So to make those colors, we're definitely gonna be using that purpley black like we used to make all the shapes and all the fill and all the things. I kind of have that going on here too. And then I'm gonna go ahead and get some blue and put that on my tray and put some blue and brown. Because at sunset, the brightest colors that you're gonna see are gonna be in the sky. Everything else is gonna be a little bit muted, and that brown is gonna help me kind of mute that blue so it's not super bright blue. And I can use that color into these reflections. So you can use your little brush. Again, you could use a little bit bigger brush. I've even used a flat brush if I can get it kind of thin like this, and you just use the very tip. So I'll kind of show you this. I'm gonna use it straight down like this, and I'm just gonna kind of skim across here using horizontal strokes. I can go through that tree. I'll come back and touch up that tree, but I can go I want those lines to kind of feel like they're fluid, kind of going through. So I'm just taking this brush, just kind of using it that way. Just the very tip. You could do it with this one here too, and kind of squeeze it out so it has a nice tip on it. And just use it nice and pointing straight down, long lines. Try to keep that nice horizontal approach. I'm gonna grab some of that blue brown that I made up here. Kind of get that in there too. So I have a slightly different tone of color there. All right, so let's talk about shadows next. We've got these mountains here kind of on the edge of these hills. Because the sun's going down, it's gonna create shadows coming in front here. So I'm gonna kind of come in here and just kind of get it closer and kind of fill this in more. So I'm gonna kind of cover up that yellow a little bit. I don't wanna cover it up entirely, but mostly I will cover that in to make that mountain feel like it is creating a bit of a shadow there. I don't wanna cover up that sun reflection because that's kind of gonna give that little interest right there, but I can go a little bit in front of it, see that? Okay, I'm just going on this side a little bit. Got this dock. Now this dock could be a little bit challenging, so let's see, what can I do here? So the dock's gonna have a shadow going out behind it, or to the side of it here. But then we've also got these little posts that go down into the water, and those are gonna create little shadows and little ripples. So I'm just gonna kind of go underneath kind of each one. Oops, I forgot to do one there, the little end part. And kind of have it be, and you can have it be a little wiggly. I might grab some of that blue brown and put that in there too. To make it feel like there's a shadow under that dock. Kind of coming out to the side, because at this time of day, the shadows become long, so they're really kind of gonna be stretching downwards. We're gonna go down here to this little islandy jetty thing over here. Put some of those in there. I'm using more of that darker blue brown over here. I've got this tree here too. I don't know if I'll get the shadow of that tree, so I'm just gonna let that go like that. You know, I probably should have done, now looking back, I've got these grasses here. I should have done these ripples first. So if you're just watching this and you haven't done anything yet, do the ripples first. Then you don't, you know, you might have to smear those little guys. Actually, it's been fine. Like, they don't seem like they're getting messed up too bad, so we're good. Look at that. Is it starting to come together? Can you see that? I think it is. Now you can, and I've done this before, if you want to get some more glowing colors in there, I'm going to go ahead and get some orange and a little bit of yellow. Mix those up, make kind of a nice yellow orange. If you want there to be like little glimmers of light, you could take a little bit of yellow orange and kind of pop it in. I usually like to do it kind of near where the sun is, where that sun's setting. Like maybe there's just some golden light hitting it. Notice I switched to this little brush here. I just don't want to get too carried away with it. So just maybe just a hint there. Now, what about some birds in the sky? I feel like that kind of adds a nice little touch here. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab some of that purple brown I have here. And for the most part, you've seen the classic like kind of V shape. I usually do like one arch and then one arch the other way. And it's as simple as that. You could do a bunch like that. You could change it up. Like sometimes you don't want them to all look exactly the same. So maybe this one's gonna go more downwards. Like that bird has a downbeat in his wings. Oh goodness, that one's looking a little bit weird. Like a little flying turtle of some kind, but that's okay. Don't mess around with it too much. You'll just make it worse, right? So I'm gonna leave that one there. You can change the directions. You could have some be a little bit larger, like it's closer, like that one, or I could have some teeny ones up high, like maybe those ones already flew up higher than their friends. You could even put some of the geese down in the water, like down here, they're still haven't taken off yet. So maybe I'll have one that's floating here, just in the water. So you could do something like that if you'd like to. I'm gonna try to put a little shadow on there. You could even turn that to a boat because I don't know, that geese is looking a little bit funny, or the goose is looking a little funny. So keep adding detail. I might have this on this distant shore, some more trees. And again, because it's farther away, they're going to look smaller and shorter. All right, the picture has had time to dry, so now we can peel off the tape. I always tell everyone when they peel it, always kind of peel it away from your painting so you don't tear into your picture. And definitely wait till it is mostly dry. I would say pretty much all dry before you take off the tape, because I have had people accidentally rip their paper, and that's always really sad, especially when you've worked really hard on your picture. So kind of take it. I've got like 2 rows of tape on mine, but and there you go. There's the finished product. I always love taking off the tape because it kind of gives it a final pop with the clean border. So I hope you had fun doing it. Like I said, there's so many possibilities with this painting. If you like the lake look, you can definitely go with the lake look. If you like the idea of more of a tropical scene, then make it a tropical scene. Add palm trees to it. And I think that whatever you do, it's going to be awesome. All right, go out and have a good time painting today.